You know, we've seen it time and time again, haven't we, in the world of Meghan Markle. Seemingly everything goes brilliantly. You're the best of chums. You couldn't do, well, she couldn't do enough. And then something goes dramatically wrong. And it goes dramatically wrong very quickly. I think the one that I really remember was the fact that behind the scenes of that CBS sit-down interview on the Sunday morning, you know, the way they were talking about the battles and terrors of social media. And then you just got all the fallout, didn't you? You kind of think, well, okay, right, this is not going too well already. And yet there they were given a prime time slot to promote their brand, whatever they wanted to do, you know, that sort of stuff. But what's fascinating now is we've seen recently that Meghan has decided to open into her world a little bit, you know. She's decided, you know, some people might suggest to exploit her own family, her two children, a mother, anybody really who's available to try and get this new brand of influencing off the ground. Now, let me tell you something, you know, I was contacted by one of the PR people working on this particular brand, and they suggested that I might like to have some samples of this as ever, right? And I said, no, I don't do endorsements or branding or unboxing or anything like that. It's just not for me. I wouldn't do it for you. I wouldn't do it for anybody. I think it's not me, you know. But, oh, no, but, you know, if you could, you know, now you understand there are certain people out there that may receive these products, that may want to do that. Not for me. Not interested, simply because you can't be impartial, can you? If you know, whichever, you know, if you tasted the jam without noticing it, do you know what I'm saying? But the other side of the coin. Now, here's where this gets interesting, because Meghan recently sat down with the New York Times, and she allowed them into her domain, yes, under the proviso that there were no pictures inside or out of the house, which is, again, stipulating all sorts of stuff. And once you do that, then you really are compromising yourself, because really, either you're open or you're not. And this is the cloak and dagger world that Meghan Markle lives in and works in, right? So moving forward, the bigger problem that happened then was, yes, they did this gushing chat about the products and all that sort of stuff, but just cast your mind back. This was a couple of weeks ago now, where the same newspaper basically reiterated the point that Meghan didn't really know what name that she was going to call herself. Do you remember, this all came from being introduced on the Drew Barrymore show, right, as Meghan Sussex, that sort of thing that basically would be part of the deal if you wanted Meghan to appear. This was going to be the bombshell news that everybody was going to pick up on, and suddenly, you know, this was the story. Well, that didn't really work, and Drew looked a bit of a wet blanket doing it, really, didn't she? But gushed as she did, as did, of course, the New York Times. But then it came to publication. And this is, can you imagine if you're Prince Harry, you're walking into the kitchen, you think all must be rosy. She's in one of the most esteemed newspapers in the world. Surely she can't be unhappy. How wrong you were, right? Well, you see, the problem is that not only wasn't it gushing enough, but in this sort of op-ed, as they call it, the top of the story, they referred to her as Meghan Markle. And even in the thumbnail of the New York Post, they referred to her as Meghan Markle again. This apparently was explosive behind the scenes, because had she not reiterated, had she not pointed out to this particular writer that this was the plot, that she had to be referred to as Meghan Sussex, Duchess of Sussex? Right, so not only is she trying to sell the product via the sort of royal connection, as it were, but now trying to completely change her name to boot into the bargain. And when you look at it from that particular aspect, you do have to laugh, because how many more people are going to be brave enough, chums, to go down this route and think, right, yeah, okay, I'll go and yes, absolutely, you know, that sort of thing. And for me, this is going to be a major problem, because you're just going to run out. Now, clearly, this writer had some gumption and thought, well, I'll agree with that, the no pictures and the no pictures outside, but I'm not letting you get away with that. Apparently, when contacted, the New York Times allegedly said back, well, this is the way that people find you on our analytics and our traction, and we want as many people to read the wonderful piece about your product launch as possible. Did it placate her? No. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.